Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to paint the Vanquish Crawler body. We're going to do this one the Walking Dead theme. We cut out a few masks. We got a Beware for the hood. We got some handprints. And a lot of this body is going to have to be done by hand. We're going to have kind of splatter coming off the wheel wells. And a lot of weathering. It's going to be kind of a grayish, silverish look. We're going to make the logos look weathered. So mostly handwork for the most part, so not a whole lot of masking. All right, originally we were going to do the sides like graffiti style spray paint, but kind of decided against that just because it's going to get a little bit difficult to pull off doing it inside out. But we're going to do it similar to the actual logo, but I'm going to weather it and make it look kind of worn down. Along with the other aspects of the body, it's going to look kind of beat up. So not a lot of masking on this, more or less a lot of handwork. This is done in an old school stencil style. I'll put some tape around it and get a little overspray around it as if it was spray painted on the body on the outside. And then of course we got our bloody handprints, and we'll have to do some splatters here and there everywhere. So let's get these logos on and then we'll start painting this thing. All right, I got some of the masking on there. Went ahead and masked up the roof. We're going to do that black, make it look kind of rusty. Didn't want to overdo it with the handprints. We got enough. We got 2 on the hood, 2 on the sides, and 3 on the back side there. Looks pretty cool. Now we got to do the drips coming off of the fender wells like it's running through zombies. We're just going to do some splash coming off of these. Kind of jaggedy, and then I'll probably have to go back by hand and throw some more, just flick some red drops on there. So we're going to draw it out with our China pen. This is that same pen I use all the time. It's one of them rope pull things. Mine's getting a little dull. Now I got way too much sticking out. But there's China pen. We're just going to draw some drips of sorts if they don't break off. Hey guys, here we are. We got something just kind of sketched out, kind of rough. Kind of like the shreddy style. Also kind of combine the shreds with drips and or almost like a flame-like design, but we're going to do all the corners kind of rounded off, make it look more fluid, but not like I said, not 90s mini truck style. Just some blobs here and there, and then we'll come back and we'll flick some red paint on there to add to the effect. All right, we got our mask on. We kind of mini trucked it up a little bit. We just put the splash on one side here. Again, just kind of free-handed once I got it on there. It don't have to be perfect. We're going kind of rough and ragged anyways. A little bit on both sides. And what we're going to do is, what better color to use than blood red candy. This has to be mixed. This is not just ready to spray out of the bottle. We're going to mix it with 40-50 gloss clear, which is what we have here. It doesn't look clear, but it dries clear. We're going to go 4-to-1, just guessing again, nothing scientific here. So we'll probably go to the second line in this little Dixie cup. We got one here, we'll probably go to there. That's roughly 4-to-1. Just a good guess. See, it looks realistic. I think we got enough candy. We're not going to need any reducer, so we're going to let that sit. This has to sit for about 15 minutes before you use it. It has to all coagulate together. And then we'll come back and we'll start slinging some paint. All right, while we're waiting on the red to do its thing, I took some 1/4-inch fine line and went around the Beware on the hood and the tailgate. These letters are going to get sprayed white, so to make it look like an actual stencil, we're going to take some white and just blow around the edge just ever so slightly on the front and the back. And that'll give you that effect of actually setting something on the wall and spraying through it. So just a little added detail. It may look good, may not, but we're going to do it anyways. All right. Also blew around some of the letters just to make it look like it kind of blew out if you were, again, just holding up a paper stencil. So that's all that needs. And up next is going to be flinging some red and start adding some details. All right, we're moving on to the messy step, and that's adding some drips, just random splatters. I think that candy's thin enough that we can probably just dribble it on there and get the effect, and maybe sling a little bit if we have to. This is going to get a little messy, so we're going to get it off the bench over there, and hopefully we don't sling this stuff all over the place, but it's water paint, so it comes off pretty easy. Yeah, so let's get to slinging some paint. Alright, we're going to do this kind of primitive. I got my stick that I clean all my overspray off with, and we're just going to let it drip in there. Maybe a little slinging. Like so. This is going to take a little longer to dry, obviously, because you're not putting light coats. You're putting these big droplets on there. We'll get some around the hands. The hands are going to be blood red, but we'll go ahead and sling some on it. Blend it all together. Alright, there's one side. As you can see, we're getting kind of creepy looking. There's our bloody mess, and as I could see there, it was kind of running uphill. I think once it settles, we'll let it sit upright and let it run down. Let gravity do its thing for a minute until it sets up. But yeah, pretty simple bloody mess there. I'm going to come back with some black. We're going to start doing some streaks and maybe little shadows under these strips that are going to be painted. And yeah. Let's let this dry for a minute, and we'll come back when we're ready to start adding some detail. All right, guys, we got our drips dry enough. We're going to jump right into black, just some Wicked Black straight out of the bottle. First off, we got some structure here, so we're going to follow these drips and do our drop shadows. And then the rest of it's going to be some freehand, just kind of some streaks, some weathering. We're going to do black around the windows. We're going to leave a little bit of edge here because our roof's going to be black. Once we get the black on, we're going to come back with some brown and add some more weathering and or rust look to it. So first things first, let's get our drop shadows on there. Alright, there's one side. It's really not going to look like much until we start pulling some stuff off. It's going to be a mess because it's kind of beat up and weathered. So makes it easier in a sense because it don't have to be perfect. Alright, we're going to jump right into it and do the windows. And then we're going to come back and just do some random streaks and stripes. We'll throw some brown in there just to add a little dinginess to it. And then we'll come back. We're going to spray the body like a dark silver, not really gray or silver. So like basically like a worn down raw metal. And then once we got that done, we can rust up our roof and start spraying some logos. Alright, we got our windows done. We've already started doing some of the weathering streaks, just dragging it off of where water would naturally run. We're going to dirty up the hood a little bit and our tailgate, and then we're going to jump into some brown. So again, they're just kind of free-handed. There's no rhyme or reason. Just kind of naturally think about where water would gather and run off of the body. So I'm going to streak it up some more, and then we'll jump into some brown. Alright, it's looking pretty raggedy. Let's clean our brush up. We'll go straight into some brown, and then we'll put our main body color on. Alright, we got enough black streaks and weather marks. We're going to go back and just put a little bit of brown here and there, just kind of where we want to. Again, this is just trying to make it kind of look like it's naturally worn, and dirty it up a little bit. So just some Parma Fast Color Dark Brown right out of the bottle. Alright, we got all of our brown there. You can't really see it until we pull all the masking off, but just a couple areas where the black streaks were, we just followed it with the brown. Try not to get too much coverage because we need to leave our body color some room. So we're going to spray our silver, and then once our silver's done, we can either do the roof or start spraying the splatter. So let's see where it takes us once we get the silver on. Alright, we're going to spray our silver on. It's just Wicked Silver. It's not real bright. It's kind of a darker metal look. Get a couple coats of that on there. And we may go ahead and do the roof because it needs to be backed with black. And we're going to do the roof black, so that would be 2 birds with 1 stone. So yeah, let's get a couple coats of silver on and keep moving. All right, there's one, and it doesn't look like much again because you can see the light shining through it. It's probably going to take 3 coats, and then we're going to back it with black when we do the roof. So let's get a couple more coats on there, and we'll get on the roof. All right, guys, for our next little trick here, we've got our cup of our brown paint that we used earlier. We just put a couple drops in there, and a bag from the hobby shop. This is going to do some mimicking some rust around the edges of the roof here. We just got a little wrinkly part of the bag here, like so, and we're going to go around the corners and just kind of dab it in places. Try not to get too much coverage. I got a little bit more than I wanted to on one side over here, but I can fix it. All right, there's his rusty roof. Well, we got visited by Mr. Hanky. I'm going to dab some more of this off, but that's all we're going to do. Might streak it up with a little bit of white just to give it some kind of that frosty look because it's going to be black. So we might do that. Just do a little bit of white here and there, very faintly, and then we'll spray our black. And we can back everything with black once we get that done because still you can see through all this. That is silver. But once it's got black on it, it'll give it a dark metal look. And yeah, let me clean this up a little bit. We're going to streak it up with some white, and then let's black it out. All right, we've got a little bit of straight white in there. We're just going to hit, ever so slightly around the edges. That's it. No more. We're going to go straight into black everything out, and then we can spray our drips. And then we're one step closer to reveal time because we have to do all of our logos. All right, we got everything pulled out that's going to be red, our candy red again. And to not have this thing just being like a super clean red paint on top of all this dingy paint, we're going to weather this up a little bit. Just got a little cheap Tester's paintbrush. And I'm going to drag some black through it just randomly again, just to muck up the candy so I don't have just like a super clean candy blood splatters. It needs to be just as dingy as the rest of the car. There's our rusty roof after the fact. So I got some black in the cup, just a little bit, don't need much. And we're just going to drag it kind of randomly and try not to get coverage again. I'm not trying to paint it black, I'm just trying to dingy it up. Because it would be, I guess you can imagine, as the red would be separating as the car's moving, it wouldn't just be an even, perfect, clean surface. So we're just going to drag it. That might be a little heavier than I wanted right there, but that's fine. Need a kind of a dry brush with a little bit of paint on it. Doing my best Bob Ross. Trying to drag it in the direction that the car would be going. This might not look that great when it's all said and done, but I might be surprised. Got to trust the process. All right, we're going to quit while we're ahead as I'm continuing to do this. I think that's good enough right there. Yeah. We're going to spray our candy mix that we've had sitting here stewing for the last hour or so. And we'll spray that on there. I'm not trying to make it look, again, I'm not trying to make a perfect candy paint job here. I want it to be kind of streaky to mimic what we're driving through here. All right, there we go. How's that for a mess? Yeah, let me load up our airbrush with the candy red, and we'll get that on there. And then the only thing we got left is our hood door logo, tailgate, and our door. The door, I'm still debating on the color, so we'll see when we get there. All right, candy time. This will take probably about 3 or 4 coats. We're not trying to get it even. We're going to leave it kind of streaky. All right, there's one coat. Like I said, I'm going to put probably 3 to 4, really light. And then we're going to back that up with a darker silver, just so it kind of mutes it a little bit more. And then we'll move on to the logos. All right, we skipped a few steps. We got our candy backed with silver, our dark silver, and then backed it with black to make it match the rest of the drips on here. We got our Beware pulled out. And again, trying to make this thing look a little weathered, we're going to spray a couple of light coats of white, a little bit streaky, and then back it with a light gray to make it look worn down. And then that'll be that. Then we got to decide over here, because all the Google images I've seen, this is kind of a dingy yellow. And that might look good and give it a little more pop, because it's kind of lost in there being black. So on the fence there, but definitely going white here. All right, straight opaque white right out of the bottle. All right, just a light coat. We'll put another one on there just to make sure, and then we'll come back, like I said, back it right back up with gray, so have some thin spots, and that'll look pretty cool. All right, we're getting down to the final steps here. We pulled off the Walking Dead logo on the side. I'm going to weather it a little bit. We're going to go with the yellow, but we're going to darken it up a little bit, cruddy it up. So we're going to take it back over here to the stool here, and we're going to fling some black in it, just some specks, and we'll come back with some brown, like a lighter brown, and muddy it up, and then we're going to paint it yellow. And I think that'll pop good on this kind of beat up old truck. So let's get to flinging some black and finish this thing up. It's got some black. I put a little bit of reducer in it, 4011, just to water it up a little bit. And we're just going to flick it on there, old school style. It's kind of a spattering. We don't want to do it with a brush. We don't want to drag brush across it. I just want it to look a little crusty. I just broke my stick. The D's not getting a whole lot on it. A little bit right there. All right, there's our kind of speckled up. I know you can't see it, but it will pop once you get the yellow on it. All right, let's get this dry, and then we'll do a little brown shading, and then hit it with the yellow. All right, we got our brown mixed up. This is kind of a washed out. I just mixed orange and black together, and it's kind of almost like an olive drab, because I want it to just be like a dirt color, like a stain. And I've only got like 3 drops in here, so it should be just enough. It's gonna look like one of them old Western signs. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, we're going to let this dry for just a second. It can stay a little wet. That'd be fine. That way the yellow will blend in with it. And once we got that on there, we'll back it with white. And then we're going to back the entire body with gray. And then it's unveil time. All right, we're jumping right into yellow. Just regular old opaque Createx airbrush paint. And here we go. Oh yeah, looks pretty cool. And that definitely needed some color on this body for something to pop. It's so dark, but looks pretty awesome. All right, we're done, but we're not done. I've been debating on how much flat clear I'm going to use, and I really want these colors to pop a little bit. At least it may not be correct as far as scale looks, but we're going to go shiny on the body, and I'm going to flat the roof. That can always be changed in the future. If you want to deaden the body, you can tape up the windows on the outside, spray your flat clear on it, or if you want to do it the hard way, like I've done in the past, hand Scotch-Brite the entire body until you knock the shine off of it. I have done that before flat clear was a thing. But just for photo purposes tonight, we're going to just do the body shiny and do the roof in flat, since our roof is kind of rusted and weathered. The rest of the body's rough, but we're going to leave it shiny. So we're just going to trim the overspray film off the roof here and spray some Spaz flat clear on it. This 90, 119, good stuff. And once we get that done, it's unveil time. Just a couple of light coats, well ventilated area, and you don't want it to be raining or high humidity and cool. That's when you'll have the blushing situation. There we go. Let that do its thing, and it's unveil time. All right, guys, appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm painting another body today. We got our flat clear on, got it dry. We just simply cut around, peeled the film off. But, as always, the most satisfying part of painting your RC body, and it's been a long day, is peeling this film off and revealing all of your hard work. And when I get this off, you're going to see why I didn't want to flat clear this, because it maybe shouldn't have a pop to it, but it needed it. Boy, Vanquish even makes their film better than most people's. Alright, we're getting somewhere now. Well, it's going to be a long anticipated reveal here. We'll get that after the fact. One little spot there. And kapowie! Check it out. See, that's why I didn't want to flatten the whole body out, because that candy looks pretty cool even with it being dark like that. It helps with this door logo, helps it pop too. And like I said, Vanquish's film is high quality, like most of their stuff. There's your 4K HD. There's our spray painted. You can kind of see through it where it's kind of worn down. And I got our faux overspray. That's on purpose to make it look like it was sprayed with an actual stencil on the outside of the body. We left the tail lights and the headlights clear just in case they want to use lights as an option. All right, guys, once again, thanks for hanging out while we painted the body. I think it turned out pretty awesome. Not my normal go-to. There's no neon on it, so that will be coming soon enough. We got these 2 Doom Masters here lined up, plus I got mine I need to do. So 3 Doom Masters on the way, plus the pan car. We are going to try to go pan car race next week. That will be a following week video, so stay tuned for that. Come back Wednesday for our normal weekly update video, and check out the links below for all your guru gear, your stickers and shirts and such. Stay tuned for a future shirt design. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have that out. And until then, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks.